I had an uncle who thought at over 80, he should get on a bicycle. And unfortunately, he fell and he never made it home. So it was an unexpected tragedy in our family. My aunt and uncle had been married over 50 years. Like they did everything together. And the grief was unbelievable. And on top of that, it was compounded that she didn't know where anything was. So they didn't even have the password to his laptop. My cousin lived an hour away. And it was so heartbreaking to us. It was just tragic to watch them when they should just be grieving and celebrating the life of my uncle. They were just completely stressed about where to find everything, passwords, documents, everything. And we just felt like that wasn't right. Like there's just got to be a better way to do it so that people don't have that added stress during the time of grief. And so that was what spurred us on to create a solution.
Welcome to Aging in Style with me, Lori Williams. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe you can follow your dreams at any age. My grandmother's journey with dementia ignited a passion in me to work with seniors. I've spent the past 13 years learning about seniors and aging. In my mid-50s, I followed my own dream and founded my company, where I use my expertise to help seniors locate housing and resources. On this podcast, we cover all aspects of aging. Join us each week to meet senior living experts and inspirational seniors who are following their dreams. The fact is, we're all aging, so why not do it in style? Hi guys, welcome to today's episode of Aging in Style. We have in the past talked about how important it is to have all of your documents, like your Social Security, your burial plan, your VA documents, anything like that, to have it all together in a place so that if something were to happen, if someone passed away or if, there was an accident, anything, and maybe adult children had to come in and figure out what to do, what your wishes are, it's best to have everything all together so people aren't guessing at what you want or trying to figure out how much money you have and if you can go into, an assisted living or memory care or whatever. So it's always best to, to have a plan, be prepared. And we talked about it several episodes ago about binders. And this was sort of like a low-tech way of having everything together in a binder. So if something happened, your son, daughter, grandson, whoever could go in, grab that binder and have all of your personal effects. Well, I met a lady recently who has come up with a techie way of doing that. And it's a really, really cool system. It's called My Personal Dox. And she's on the show with us today to talk about it, how she came up with the plan, how it works. And I'm just really excited to introduce you to her. Her name is Leslie Frazier, and she is an experienced business person. She's an innovator and a mom of twin girls. And she's just, driven to help others and takes pride in providing a solution that's going to help families reduce the stress during the loss of a loved one. As a creator of My Personal Dox, her goals include organizing important papers with the understanding that people don't necessarily want family to know their situation until later. And My Personal Dox has received lots of attention and accolades for providing a much needed service at a reasonable price. So welcome, Leslie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad that we were introduced through a mutual friend. So this was just a great introduction to have. So tell us a little bit about Personal Dox. What is it?
Yes. So My Personal Dox is an online document storage website. And the key to it is that it's pre-organized. So we've broken it down into 9 categories, and each category has checklists. So you go through your category. So for example, automobile, you look at your cars and you say, yes, I have a car, maybe I own a car, but maybe I also lease a car. And as you check off the checklist, it generates the folders for you. So every account is unique to the user. And then it also reminds you of all the things that you do want to make sure that you have in one place. And then, like I mentioned, we may not want our loved ones to have access now, but we want it to be organized so that if something happens, they have everything in one place. So we created a way to add people to your account, and then you choose, do you want them to be able to see it today or only in the future if something happens to you? So in a nutshell, that's what My Personal Dox is.
Okay. I think it's so cool. I like that you have all the different folders like that because, it's just things that you don't think about, and passwords and who you may not know your family is leasing a car. You may think the car is bought and paid for. You may have no clue. So what kind of gave you this idea to do this? Was there a personal story involved there?
Yes, unfortunately. So I had an uncle who thought at over 80, he should get on a bicycle. And unfortunately, he fell and he never made it home. So it was an unexpected tragedy in our family. They had been married. My aunt and uncle had been married over 50 years. Like they did everything together. And she was just grief. I mean, the grief was unbelievable. And on top of that, it was compounded that she didn't know where anything was. So they didn't even have the password to his laptop. My cousin lived an hour away. And it was so heartbreaking to us. It was just tragic to watch them when they should just be grieving and celebrating the life of my uncle. They were just completely stressed about where to find everything, passwords, documents, everything. And we just felt like that wasn't right. Like there's just got to be a better way to do it so that people don't have that added stress during the time of grief. And so that was what spurred us on to create a solution.
That's great. I mean, that's where your passion's coming from, because you've seen what can happen. And I mean, so many times people will call us and it's the same thing. Like, I mean, yeah, your parents may be in their 80s, but it's still unexpected, when something happens. And most people have no clue what their parents' social security is, because you don't really want to talk about those type of things. It's uncomfortable. So those conversations usually are not had. And then there's a crisis, and there's the adult child trying to figure out what on earth, what do they have? And do they have long-term care policies? Do they have this or that? So that's where I really love your system. And as you said, if you're a very private person and say, like the low tech kind of binder idea, anyone could go look through that. But with My Personal Dox, they won't be able to see it until there's a need. So if you're very private, this definitely works for you. Give us some details on, what's included in My Personal Dox.
What I say, there's three key things. So you have we talked about the folders, the categories, and your checklist, and then you'll have your folders created. And you can actually put notes in. So you upload your documents, and there's a field to put in notes. So maybe something is inherited from a family member, and you want to make sure that your family knows that. If there's account numbers, if one is mom's account, one is dad's account, you can put free text in there. So it's very clear to your family what everything is. And then we talked about the representatives, and then you can give them access now or in the future. And then we have what we call an inventory report. So at any point in time, you click one button and up pops a report, and it's alphabetical by category. It says, here's everything in your system. And here's how it's all organized. So if somebody was looking for a particular item, they could scroll down the list, see what folder it's in, and then pop over to that folder and get their information. So we tried to make it very user-friendly, very simple. My mom's 82, and we made her bless it. We're like, you're going to sit in front of the computer. And I built this with the idea that I wanted it super user-friendly and very functional. So the report is extremely useful. Number one, it tells you the date you uploaded your documents. So say you got a new insurance policy and it's been sitting on your desk and you're like, shoot, did I upload it? You go to your inventory report and it tells you, well, no, you didn't upload anything since, last year. So you know to go and put it in there. So those are some of the key things that are, we think, kind of valuable to our system and useful to our clients.
Mm-hmm. So to kind of go through, just to give people an idea, some of the things that might be included would be like if they're still in their house, their mortgage, if the house is paid off, the title, anything with their cars, utilities, all of that kind of stuff. So those are the things, I mean, like nobody likes to think about that. But if if they're still living in a house and all of those bills that come with a household and passwords and all that kind of stuff, you would have a file for all of that.
So how it works is, the idea is this is what your family is going to need to close accounts, settle your affairs. Mm-hmm. So there's a contact, one of the categories is a contact module, and I call it a Rolodex for those of us that know what that is, right? Mm-hmm. The types are pre-labeled. So you would select, here's my utility, I have a landline, here's my utility, here's my internet, and then you put all the contact information in there because the bills are only a point in time and you're paying the bill. And we didn't want people to feel like every month are they supposed to update. It's just The contact information is stored there so people know who to call to close an account, suspend an account, whatever they need to do, but not necessarily uploading the actual bill. So the insurance policies would get uploaded, but you can also put your insurance agent in the contact information as well. Okay. And so some of the other things that people have found very useful, and it's interesting because obviously everyone's situation is unique. So we have, in Texas, mineral rights are a big deal. And I'm from the West Coast, that wasn't really a big deal there. So we've made sure that things that may not be specific across the board are on the checklist. And then as you select it, right, it's available for you. So people who have done adoption, we have a section for adoption papers. People are very concerned about making sure those aren't lost. Like you mentioned, your home, but with your home, you could have a home warranty insurance. You have your home owner's insurance. There's so many different things that go into that you don't think of, right? And we said, well, what if somebody has a boat or they have a recreational vehicle or a motorcycle? Like we've put all those different items in there because everybody's different. Second homes, timeshares, all kinds of items are included.
Yeah. And it gives you prompts for all the different things. So I think that's cool because you might not be thinking about something and add it, be able to add it in that way. Okay. And then is there a section like just all passwords? Because I think my Wi-Fi in my house, my husband knows the password. I don't know it. I think it has something to do with Harry Potter. Oh, he's going to have to change it now. Oops, sorry. But I can never remember it. So I often think about that, gosh, if something happened, I don't even know our Wi-Fi password.
Right. So we put that in the contacts. So we would just put down your internet and then in the notes, you'd put your Wi-Fi password.
Okay.
So we don't have something called password. We don't want to necessarily flag it.
Okay.
Right. They always say don't use the word password in an email because somebody might be trolling. And we have all the security that you're supposed to have around this kind of venture, but you never know, we don't want to use that word. So we just say in your contacts, you can list all the passwords you want. You can put we put all the credit cards are in there. So you can put your account numbers in there for your credit cards. So your family has that to call. So that's where we can store it.
All of the things to make sure are canceled. And, also I would think you would have, if you have already prepaid your funeral, have your information in there. So all your family has to do is just go get that information and go take care of everything. I had someone telling me about, they were so thankful that when I think it was their father had passed, they had a cell phone with them and they'd gotten the password to a cell phone because a lot of times when maybe they didn't have passwords or something, but everything kept coming to his phone that they had to confirm because we set everything right. That we're going to, go to the phone for security or whatever. They're going to send a password to it. So I would think that's very important, which makes me wonder what would happen if you lost the phone, if it was an accident or something.
Right. There's a lot of that. So, and that was one of the reasons why we said we wanted the representatives, your loved ones, to have their own log on. And I don't know if I touched on that earlier, but the way it happens is when you input who you want, if it's a son, a daughter, grandson, like you mentioned, you put them in the system and you choose future or immediate access. They get their own link and they have to create their own credentials. So the idea was with my uncle, when he passed and nobody had the password to his computer, we've talked to a lot of people that use Google Drive or Dropbox, and we say to them, if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, does your family have access? And sadly, really, they don't, unless you've written the password down somewhere. So you're back to either share the password today, and you may not want them to know your information, or risk something happening and your family not being able to get it. So the way we created it, again, we had what we thought was the perfect package. And we said, we don't want anyone to have to share a password. Everyone will have a unique password and it'll go into their account so that we avoid that from happening.
Okay. So you have your My Personal Dox is all set up. Say you are in a terrible car accident. How does the person get their login at that point?
So when you assign somebody future access, they get an email at the point that you create the account or you've put them in your account. And then it says, this account's been created. You're a representative. You're allowed future access. Please bookmark the website. Please keep this information and reach out to us when needed. And then as a business, we require third-party evidence. So if you're in a hospital, a doctor would say if you're incapacitated, right? The whole concept is you can't be able to make decisions, right? That's the issue. So the doctor, you would get some sort of documentation and you would submit it to us. We would attempt to call the person whose account it is. And if there was no answer after we tried to verify and we had the third-party documentation, then we would give them their access and they would create their own logon.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I kind of wondered how that would work. Okay, yes. That makes perfect sense. Okay. And is there, I know you mentioned something about like a trial or special for people to try it out. How does that work?
Right. So we have a free plan. So our plans we started off very economical. Like our point is we really just want to help people. So our most economical plan starts at $6.99 a month. If you want to do a monthly subscription, if you want to pay for it in advance for the year, you get 10% off. So it comes like $75 for a whole year. We decided that some people want to be able to, dip their toe in. So we created a free plan. It's the same bells and whistles. It's the exact same categories checklist. Nothing has changed when you log in. You get to put in one representative and you have unlimited contacts. And then it's just in regards to the number of documents you upload. It's a smaller capacity for the free plan, but that may be all somebody needs. And then that's great. If they have more, they want more representatives, or they decide that they want to expand and put more information in, they can always upgrade to the plans. But again, they're all very economical.
Okay. And then, because I know someone is going to ask this question or be thinking it, how secure is it? So you're putting in all this personal information. How secure is the system?
Right. So the connections to the clients, the users, are all secured connections. Just like when you log onto your Blink, you get that HTTPS in your toolbar. We have that all set up. So it's encrypted upon communication. Our servers are behind firewalls that are monitored 24/7. There's a third party called Trusted Site, and you can get verified from them. And if you go to our website, it's in the bottom right corner. It says that it has been Trusted Site verified.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that before. So, okay, great. I just knew that would come up. So I think it's such a great plan. It makes a lot of sense. Kind of moving on from that, but is there a senior in your life that really inspired you?
So, I hate to be cliche, but my dad, it was really my dad. So he's no longer with us, but he was a doctor and we started off in a small town. And when he first started, he used to do house calls. It was just so sweet. And then they used to call him the gentle giant. He was 6'4" and very soft-spoken, always went out of his way to help people. And he loved to garden. And so and it was prolific. Like my mother sometimes was like, honey, enough. Like I only can can so much. And he would take big baskets and put it in his waiting room with little brown bags. And he would just make sure like everybody got, right? And at our church, he would go and just garden there. He would just take care of, just for fun, like we're in Sunday school and he would just go pull weeds. Like he just had this heart of gold. And I think that's partly why we're doing what we're doing, because we just want to help people. And it's our way to be able to help people make lives a little better.
Yeah. You saw that need through your family and then taking what you learned from your dad and kind of pulling it all together. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay. So now if people want to find out about My Personal Dox, what's your website?
It's My Personal Dox, and Dox is with an X. Like xylophone or Xerox. I'm not sure what word to use for that, but it's mypersonaldox.com is the website.
And they can go there. You can try the free trial special. You'll see it there. And then we also have a discount that we're offering for those who listen to the Aging in Style podcast. And if you decide to purchase the plan or the monthly plan or the, annual plan, you could do it either way. The annual plan, you said you get 10% off. But with Aging in Style, if you put in Aging in Style or AIS podcast at checkout, then you get an additional 5%. So everyone likes to save a little. So there you go. There's another way to save. We will also put all of this information on our website, and with the podcast, you'll be able to access Leslie's website so you can find it and go play around with it and see what you think. There's also a YouTube video that gives you a little demo of how it works, and we will put access out for that as well. So, Leslie, thank you so much for being on the podcast and telling us all about My Personal Dox. I love it. I think it's such a great idea and so needed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me, and we hope we can just serve others. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Great. All right, guys. Well, we will put all that information out there. You can always visit my website, which is loriwilliams-seniorservices.com, and see all of our different podcasts there. You can listen to them all and share them with your friends and family. And this is a great one to share as well. So we will see you next week. Bye-bye.